Barbara Finamore for more on all of this. She's a senior attorney and Asia director for the Natural Resources Defense Council. She founded the China program focusing on climate, clean energy, and environmental protection. That was a heartwarming story there. But talk to me about this battle, because it's really a struggle there. You really want to rein in pollution, but you don't want to shut down the engines of the economy. How do you strike that delicate balance?
I think China is on the right path to striking that balance. Because what it's trying to do is fundamentally transform its economy into one that focuses more on better quality growth, innovation, and environmental sustainability. And the steps that China is taking and has been taking to achieve this fundamental transformation are the same ones that are going to allow it to tackle its air pollution and to make those skies blue again. And there's really 4 steps that China is taking to make that transformation. And one is to restructure its whole economy away from one that is focused on coal-powered heavy industry towards the service sector. Second is to improve the industrial efficiency, to get more out of each unit of energy. Third would be to shift away from coal towards cleaner sources of energy, which it is doing. China leads the world in wind and solar capacity right now. And number 4 is better pollution control at the end of pipe, which includes better enforcement. So we're seeing all of these themes echoed in these 2 sessions. China has announced cuts again in its steel capacity, in its coal-fired capacity, in its coal mining. And it has, most importantly to my mind, in its 13th five-year plan, set a binding cap on coal consumption. Coal is the major source of China's air pollution and of its CO2 emissions. And so by 2020, China plans a binding cap to bring that coal consumption down to 58% of its total energy mix. And then just this week announced for 2017 a cap of 60%. That's down quite a bit. And China is making progress. Coal consumption went down again this year. And coal CO2 emissions appear to have been essentially flat. So we're seeing progress. There's no quick fixes, but actually, the Pearl River Delta in the last 2 years has actually been the first key region in China to achieve its air quality goals. So we see that there is the potential for making those skies blue again.
Barbara, back in 2013, I was here in Washington for a presentation by the UN called The Rise of the South. They looked at the striking transformation happening in China, India. People pulled out of poverty, but the rise of the middle class, meaning more cars out there on the roads, more people needing energy, as you mentioned, coal, more pollution. They extended that out, looked at other countries also on the rise, and this is not just going to be a problem confined to China. It demands more innovation and new approaches. Is China kind of leading the way in that regard?
China is leading the way in many respects. In terms of more cars on the road, more greater use of oil, China plans to have 5 million new energy vehicles on the road by 2020. China is building the world's largest network of high-speed rail, and we saw that a new investment, major new investment planned for that high-speed rail. Again, China is leading the world in wind and solar capacity and has now 40% of the world's solar capacity. So it has a lot to teach or to share with other countries. And the key point to remember here is there does not have to be a conflict between economic growth and environmental sustainability. In fact, these 2 go hand in hand. If China wants to keep its economic growth sustainable over the long term, it has to make those kind of transformations I talked about earlier. And we have examples for this in other countries. In the US, for example, the energy use in 2015 was pretty much the same nationwide as it was in the year 2000. Even though the economy grew by 30% during that period. efficiency is a key part, as I said before, of wringing more productivity out of the energy that you use, as well as making it clean. And the fact is that China is ahead of the United States in the annual ranking of countries on energy efficiency. China is number 6 worldwide, while the United States is number 8.
Well, you mentioned
So
the
yes,
United States.
China does have a lot to share.
You mentioned the United States, and the United States under the Obama administration and President Xi, very active in the Paris Climate Agreement. We have a new administration in place. Concerns at all about moving forward that China may still continue in that phase, in that effort, but perhaps the United States may not be as in tune with China in that regard?
Well, that's right. President Trump has not yet made an announcement as to whether the United States will stay a partner in the Paris Agreement. We hope he will make that decision. It is extremely important for the entire world community to cut back our CO2 emissions. But on the same hand, we understand that President Trump may be planning major cuts to the Environmental Protection Agency's budget. And really crippling its ability to protect the air and the water and the soil in the United States. At the same time, I see China moving ahead on environmental enforcement just this year.
Yeah.
It sent out 18 inspection teams to about 360 cities around the country just to make sure that they're not, that they're complying with these environmental laws and regulations. They found quite a few problems that they're seeking to address.
Yeah, definitely moving in the right direction. Barbara Finamore, thanks so much for joining us from New York. Really appreciate it.